How we doing? I see Raj here, Mad Dog Down Under Maker. Mad Dog thinks the poll is unfair. He wants a third option between James and myself. Yeah. The one-armed band? Sasquatch? Swamp Ape? Drop Bear? I don't know what the third option would be. But
I mean, I would probably say Mothman over Sasquatch.
got ourselves some Orange Mountain Dew today. Oh, you're winning so far, James. Ugh. All right, so in the background, I'm just waiting on a print to finish because it's going to be for testing out the spacing of our cartographer. But the piece I was waiting for, the little toolhead board, because
You couldn't have printed that?
well, I did, but unfortunately, the one that I printed, this little slope here, this was designed for the EBB 36 Gen 1. And something I'm going to report right ahead of time. First, if you hear some loud noises, it just started pouring. And if the stream goes away, it means I lost power because I'm in Florida and we lose power all the time.
And
But-
generators are expensive.
Extremely expensive. This will be a good test. We're going to see how this mic does with rain hitting the walls and the windows and all that. But yeah, the big problem that we had here was when I put this on here, it just hits the little piece there. So with the new one, it's actually designed properly so that I don't hit any of the rear parts and everything. John Doe, welcome on in. Pat, how you doing? Let's see here. Still giving a bit of time for people to come in here. Now, for those that don't live in Florida, you know, contrary to popular belief, everyone says Florida does not have seasons. We absolutely have seasons. We have 4 just like everybody else. We have hurricane season, love bug season, forest season, and summer. Well, right now we are in the middle of love bug season. They are everywhere. So, and I'm out in the garage. So if you happen to see a little black and orange bug, that's what it is. It sat here and somehow got into the garage, and we just deal with it until the season's over. But they are terrible for a car.
Middle. We're almost done with love bug season for a couple months.
Couple months. Yeah.
Until August.
But yeah, so if you happen to see one, that's what it is. They are annoying little things. Gonna give a bit longer for people to come on in.
The sky is being very loud right now. Very loud.
Yeah. There's definitely some bowling going on. Son of them. But it fell down completely earlier. But this is going to allow us to attach our toolhead board on, and this thing is tiny. Like, it's almost the size of a 4020 fan or a 4010 blower fan.
You gotta show
A little
off
bit
the,
bigger.
You gotta show off the fancy filament that Down Under thought I wasn't gonna get.
That is something we can do. James happened to pick himself up some filament. Or waiting for people to come in. Those of you that came in nice and early get to see some filament. Let me make sure that I'm not. Yep. So the first one is from Amelin. And this is the PLA Rosewood. Or, yeah, PLA Rosewood filament. It's actually a nice deep red and something I haven't seen too many different filaments, but, you know, nice and clear on this side. Completely foil backed on the other. So,
Whatever shall I do, guys? How dare I lose the poll? That wasn't part of the agreement.
all right. So our next one is a Polymaker ABS, and this one is their Galaxy Purple. So nice, glittery, shiny purple. James is a big fan of purple. And the last one, did I read that right? Okay. It is just a Polymaker ABS, but it is dark purple. This stuff is, it is so dark it is almost black. But it is definitely a dark purple. Almost like that Minecraft obsidian purple. Oh, we got an obsidian black. Oh. Oh yeah, and Mike, we are purple and white today. But how you doing, Mike? Welcome on in.
I love how you pointed your back of your head toward the camera, but then used your hand to cover
Oh,
the hair tie from the camera.
purple and white. But yeah, so what we were waiting on, what I needed for last stream was just this little piece. And so we're going to be doing a few things here because I've done wire crimping in the past, but I have not done wire crimping on wires this small. So we're going to try something new today. I do have my handy crimping kit with all of our tips and everything. So I did notice that this actually pretty much came with pieces to crimp in for the board, so I might not have to use any of my pieces. I might just be able to use the ones that theirs came with. And so I can save mine as a nice backup, and unlike mine, which are going to be white, these are actually black, so we'll see how it turns out. Oh, Mike, you're definitely going to be able to judge me on wiring, but I'm definitely going to be shortening up some of these wires. Tom, how you doing? But yeah, Mike, feel free to judge. In fact, you know, once the stream's over, judge me in the comments and everything. Hop in the Discord, judge me there. You know, I'm always up for advice as well. Like if you see something,
you a masochist?
You see something that I did that I could improve on, you know, hop in the Discord, let me know. You know, the only way we don't know what we don't know. So the only way to learn is by someone telling you, hey, there's a better way to do it, or this is how I think you should have done it. You can learn new techniques. I don't claim to be an expert in anything. You know, I'm just passing on the knowledge that I've picked up and stuff like that. So if someone else can teach me a different way or a better way to do it, I'm all for it. Icon, how you doing? Welcome in. All right. Well, I think what we can do then we can go ahead and get started. The cool thing about the little Vitaly toolhead mount, toolboard mount, is he actually sends you all the screws you need with it and everything, and they're coded to they're matching the actual mount. But if we look at this, so I did kind of do a test fit on this, and I found I need to take the motor cord to get the best wire management and actually route it on the inside. But then if I put that there, let me grab I still need to do down under maker's tip. And for those that haven't heard his tip, you put a little magnet inside the hollow end so it touches the driver, and then that actually can magnetize your tool to sit here and hold your screws if you happen to have magnetic screws. Oh yeah, other thing that it came with is, you know, your standard standoffs are these brass little standoffs. Well, Vitaly sends you some nice knurled black standoffs to kind of match the rest of your build. So I thought that was really cool. They're a bit shorter than the standoffs that came with the kit, but they happen to fit pretty much like perfectly for spacing. So get this screwed down on one side here, and it's pretty obvious as to which screws go where because he actually has them countersunk for your countersunk heads and just stood off for the other ones. You can see that just kind of goes on there, gives you all of your little places. Now, I do have the umbilical print that I printed off for the strain relief. I'm still debating on which one of these to use because I can use this one. But the cable that comes with the EBB36 actually has some pretty good strain relief already built in. So I'm debating on which one to use because the one that's actually already on the printer, I might be able to pop one of the ends off on these so I can actually feed it through the umbilical. This one's kind of that molded on, so I do not know about cutting this. Take this. I'm trying to get better about keeping this in front of me. You guys can see what I'm doing. Now we're just going to go with the button head screws, and those are going to go through our board and into, and actually I'll show you here, there are only two holes to mount this into the back. There's the countersunk hole, and then there's two that are kind of standoffs built in. That's what your board's actually going to rest on, and that's what the two screws on the board are going to screw into. We got the one, and you know, we're listening on stuff and everything, but can you guys hear the rain and everything in the background? You know, let me know. And that right there is our little toolhead board attached. If you look, I'm going to stand up here real quick and show you guys. You can see there's plenty of space back there. We're not touching any of the solder points onto that metal. Plenty of space behind the motor, so that way you get some cooling. And it's a nice solid fit. All right, let me go ahead and sit back down because I'm fat and lazy. But then, so we're going to take our little motor, and that's going to plug into this one right here. So by routing it up under the mount, it keeps that cord kind of nice and hidden for us. So there you go, Mike. There's some of your cable management. All right. So John says he can't hear the rain, but he loves the Blind Melon song. John Doe, I'm going to be learning how to use CAD software. I have FreeCAD on here right now because I know Tinkercad has their web-based version. FreeCAD also happens to work on Linux, but slowly learning the hobby. You know, I figure let's get into learning Clipper and all that and getting these things tuned up before I start getting into the let's start modifying parts and everything like that. Okay. So this is the cable that we're going to need to modify. Because while I can just use the 4 pins that are on here, I kind of want to shorten this up. That way I can kind of just loop it up and over. And see if I can show you guys. So I can just kind of loop it up and over and get it into that port right up here. That's the Cinch I2C port. So what I'm probably going to do, because they did send quite a few connectors all wrapped up. Let me see if I can find the end on this thing. There it is. I just need to get it untangled. There we go. So I have quite a few connectors here. So what I can do is I can actually, I know I'm going to need at least that much. So I'm going to cut it a bit long because I can always shorten it up. But they don't make a cable stretcher for cables this small. So let me get my clips.
That's all right, Down Under. I can admit defeat.
Okay. Yeah, Down Under, I'm going to try to use the black plug. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to snip us quite a bit long. And then this is a little trick for anybody that's doing crimping or anything the first time. Any kind of thing. If you're trying to do soldering for the first time, if you're crimping for the first time and you happen to have a bunch of extra wire, use that extra wire to practice with. So I need to grab my cable strippers. These ones, because these ones go down to a smaller gauge wire. This is a pretty small gauge. I'm going to say, it looks like it might be 28. Let's see. It is 28. So I know I snipped off I clipped off way too much there. Because if correct, yeah, we need just the barest amount of wire sticking out. Yeah, just a tiny amount of wires needed to be stuck out because it just needs to clip into the spot right in front of it. So let me see if I got this close. Matt Owl, how you doing? Welcome on in. Oh, that was a pretty close race between me and James. Yep, so
if you guys want a reason why I should have won instead of Penguin, we spent, I don't know, 7, 8 hours in a car yesterday, driving to somewhere else in Florida because we were going to go pick up something from Facebook Marketplace. However, someone, not naming names, decided that it was a good idea to start driving before we got confirmation.
that would be you. I'm like, hey, he hasn't responded yet. And he goes, oh, well, you said we'll get it on the way.
I most certainly did not.
Yeah. But yeah, no, we were looking at getting a keyboard. It was like a $700 keyboard for like $325. And we had a time arrangement for, hey, we're going to meet up at this time. Guy was like, cool. Messaged him yesterday. Hey, we still on for meeting? He's like, yep. Messaged him yesterday. No response whatsoever from him.
I'm assuming he still hasn't gotten back to you.
He hasn't. Okay, so let's grab our crimping tool here. We're going to do some kind of a dry run here. Just to give ourselves some practice. Okay.
But that'll also explain if both of us are tired. Now you know why.
I'm just going to get that off of the main one there. And I am not sure which of these this should be going in, but I'm going to go, because this is showing me, hey, wire gauge up top, but I know we need to do this not based on the wire gauge, but on the actual size of the crimping connector. You see here. Okay, so I need to go from this side, it looks like, because on these, if you look, there's actually a high side and a low side. This side is our low side. This side is our high side. And because I need to sit here and make sure that I put this in the right direction. Get this done properly. Again, I do not claim to be an expert with these things. But bigger side is this one, which is going to be the side that our longer piece is going to go out in. I have the strangest feeling that it would have been easier if I had done this without taking it off the little thing. Down under, I'm going to try not to be the third pixie releaser. Because I agree with you, that would not be a good thing.
I mean, you do have that power supply you can swap out on the Voron today. At least give it a chance.
Right, that did not go the way I was expecting. That popped off our end. And I did not get a good crimp on that anyway. So I am looking here, trying to make sure that I'm doing this properly. Let me go on to the next one. And while it would be easier to do this while it was still in the thing, I think I need to go in further. So it's not quite reaching. Finicky, and I've got fat fingers. Very fat fingers. What? I'm gonna get myself. Pair of pliers. See how I do with that. Well, started having it. Yeah. LTX, the way that I can see without magnifying glasses is I'm actually nearsighted. So close up seeing, I actually see quite well. It's distance that I have a problem with.
I mean,
Yeah.
technically, all glasses are magnifying glasses. It just is a matter of what they magnify.
Okay, that looks like we are good there. And I'm going through all this trouble just to practice, and then I get to do it all over again. I know this is probably very, very riveting content, guys, but this is the kind of thing that, you know, a new builder is going to go through as well. So, and, you know, technically I'm also a new builder, so. Let's see here. That looks like we got it good there. So let's give a crimp. See. We definitely made good contact on around the sleeving. And it does look like we made it through. I will be right back. I think I've got a new cheapo voltage meter over here. I left the other voltage meter at the house, and I'm just going to check the continuity on that to make sure that I did end up getting. Yeah, Matt Owl, I will definitely say, if you have bad eyesight,
He just leaves in the middle of a thought. Who does that?
see,
He's making an awful lot of noise, but I don't think he's finding anything. I don't know if he has what he's looking for. It's times like these where I wish I had the rights to the Jeopardy theme song. Unfortunately, I do not. You know, if you keep looking in the same spot multiple times, I don't think it's going to make a difference.
it would, but I thought I had left it over there. Unless I moved it into the toolbox. Ready? But yeah, but no, what I was saying, Mad Dog, if you have bad eyesight or anything, I would definitely recommend picking up like a helping hand with a magnifier on it to help with this, or some sort of magnifying device. Because that can help. So no, my voltmeter seems to have disappeared. All right. Based on this, it looks like we have a connection there. So let's go ahead and try crimping our little piece. Let me find out which of these little black connectors will actually work. Yeah, LTX, I don't know about the non-ratcheting crimpers because the ratcheting ones were the only ones I had. So, you know, I would love to get my hands on one of those PA engineering ones. Okay, that is our.
I don't know who just voted for the 51 to 99% chance, but you are on your own.
I'm afraid to ask what survey you just put up there. Chat, should I even look to see what survey he put up? Yeah, so one of these days I might be able to get that tighter shot in because I'm working on getting another camera that I can bring in close for you guys. But I do agree with Down Under. You know, we do need a tight shot for this to really see how
I
fiddly
mean, if you would
this
keep it
process
on the
is.
overhead cam, it wouldn't be an issue. But you don't know how to do stuff away from your chest.
Oh no, even if I were to do it out here, it's you need to be up right up on this. All right, so let's go and strip back our cable. And you really do not need to strip much at all. Like last time with the last one I did, it was about 2 millimeters of sleeving that I stripped back. Just the barest amount that's needed. Because these connectors are very small. Okay, so we're getting down to our last one here. So let me stand up here real quick. Ooh, too bright. You guys can see there is not much stripped off there at all. Hey, Digital Dragon, welcome on in. So let's see here. Gonna grab our pieces, and this is the other reason why I crimped a bit long, because if I mess up, I can always snip back and then try again. Whereas if you know, if you're an expert at this and you do this for a living, you do this all the time, you can probably snip these to exactly where you need them and then be fine. But like if this is your first time doing it or you're not that experienced, always give yourself a little bit of leeway, because I would rather have that little bit of loop of wire and tuck it back in behind than, hey, all of a sudden I don't have enough wire and then I'm having to do 8 crimps instead of just 4. Thankfully, you know, if something like that does happen, I have the extra wire, I can do that. But if you didn't have enough extra wire or something, that could be a bit of a nightmare. Okay. Now, next thing I need to do, I actually need to look and see what order these things are going to go into. Bear with me real quick while I pull up the Big Tree Tech's site so I can see the pinout here. Which we have our pinout here. We're going into this port right here. Let me zoom in. We're going into this port right here, which is our I2C port for our sensors. And then for our orbiter, see if we can find a pinout on their on the website here. Here. Just get the cable stretcher. Let's see here. Yeah, the few of you that said 51 to 99% for this Voron printing tonight, you have some very high hopes.
I think it was just Mike is my guess.
And yeah, down under, I can definitely see how that could be very annoying of just messing up one link. Okay, so our filament sensor, tangle unload, 3.5 and ground. Well, I know where our ground and 5 volts are. That's pins 1 and 2. It's which one's SCL and which one's SDA on this. So pin 4, which is our blue, is going to be going to our ground, which is the second pin on our connector. So let's go ahead and get that crimped because we know where that goes. That is a good, very good point down under Maker. Yeah, let's go ahead and do all the crimps first, and then we'll worry about where all these things go afterwards. Okay. I know this time that I need spot C. Going to get the initial crimp in. So it ratchets. That is one good thing about the ratcheting is you can get that first ratchet in there and it can kind of hold it in for you as you're going. Okay. Trying to get this better on camera for you guys. Trying to be better about that, about not doing it up close to my chest here. Also sucks that I'm left-handed. I think that feels like it's on. Nope. Hold up. Well, crap. And that's why we cut them a bit long, because when I did that crimp, you guys, let me stand up here and show you. If you look at these, you have the two little foldovers that go in, and then the actual piece that the pin on the other side goes into. When I just did that crimp, it cut off that end on the other side, so I didn't have it pushed in enough when I was crimping. So we're gonna cut these all back. Strip them again. Okay. Wide enough wire on that strip. That looks a bit better. Okay, that's our red, our green. Our blue. And our yellow. Okay. How you doing, Killa? Welcome on in. Hey.
Look at that dirty table now that we're zoomed in.
Yeah, unfortunately, the mat does like to pick up everything, and the cat also likes to come up on top of here, and so. Okay. So I know for a fact that this is spot C that we need. All I'm doing. Oh, that's not going to work. I'm too far up.
Technically, yes, Mike, but that is a question for Penguin if that's something that he wants to do.
Let's see here.
To be fair, keep in mind though, if that is something that he decides to do, the video is going to be pretty delayed from you talking to him, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, going back. Don't use left-handed as an excuse. Oh, I'm not. It just makes it. It's making it a bit harder, but I'm still going to do it. I am. One of the good things about being left-handed is you are a bit more ambidextrous. So we're going to see how this goes. And Mike, that is also a good thing, a good point. You know, as I say, practice makes perfect. And so I'm getting quite a bit of practice here. Yeah, Mike, that I can talk to you afterwards. Talking while I'm on stream. I am not tried that yet. We have not set anything like that up yet. But I get distracted easily as it is. Oh, that was a perfect one. Let me see. Let me see if you guys can see this. I don't know if you'll be able to focus camera. All right. Let me stand up here real quick. So let's see if we can get this thing to focus. If you look right there at the bottom of the crimp, you can, like, the edge of the cable is just the edge of the sleeving is right at the end of that back one. So I am very happy with that crimp. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm going to try doing this while standing for you guys. Can you guys see a bit better this way?
Let's try that on for size right there.
All right, all I'm doing is I'm making sure that that little end piece is clearing back here and it won't cut it off. So, yep. And then I have it in the correct slot all the way up to that. There is a, what's the best way to describe it? There's a step in the jaws that you can see. So that way, the longer arms, let me see which way he has this. Sure. Yeah, I don't know if you guys will be able to see because of how bright the lights are. But there's some longer arms and some shorter arms. Those longer arms can go right up against that step. And that's where you know you're in far enough. So let's try our green one now. There we go. I think I'm starting to get this. Let's see here. Zoomed in, it's really hard to do this. Focus. Trying to get it so you guys can see, but yeah. Yeah, that the little cable sleeving is just there at the tip. So that's two. Two more to go. Okay, so we have those clipped off. I'm just working on getting this in its initial stage, but I'm kind of pulling it towards that little stair step as I'm doing this. There may be a better way, but this so far is the way that has been working for me. Okay.
I think they could have made these wires a little bit smaller.
There we go. Number 3. Okay, and we're gonna try to get number 4 up here. And something I'm finding is working for me. I don't know about others, as you know, just kind of get that initial ratchet in to hold it in, and then you can pull it in and out a little bit to make sure it's up against that stair step. And then when I push it in, you can actually kind of feel where the sleeving hits that second set of foldovers. Once you crimp it down like one more. But we get to do 4 more because I went a bit too far on that last one. I do apologize. This is probably very riveting content for you guys, but people are getting to see the frustrations that go through. Like, I know Mike does a lot of this for a living, and he's probably got this down to a science. And he's probably yelling at his camera at all the things that I'm doing. But you know, when you see people that do this stuff on stream and they're just like, oh yeah, boom, 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 know that there is actually quite a bit of practice and time and effort that went into honing it the way that they have. Stripping back our wires again. Okay, we've got those stripped back. Let's see here. Let's see here. Ratchet are great to have crimp volumes on terminals. Let's see here. I'm looking here. The PO9s for now for learning curve for sure. So believe it or not, this crimping kit that I bought actually wasn't that bad. I think it was like 40 or 50 bucks, and it comes with a bunch of ends with them, and the actual adapt like inserts where you can put them in, both male and female. So it was actually quite a reasonable price for it. Let's see here. Last time it was these yellow ones that kind of did this yellow one that did me in. So I'm going to start with this one first. Just working on feeling where kind of hard to see with how small these are, where you actually are in the crimp. Okay. Come on, you. That's good. Okay. That's one. But yeah, so again, you know, if you sit here and get yourself a 3D printer or something like that, or something, you know, get some, don't do like this, like live as your first time. Get some spare wire in the same gauge and, you know, just practice with it. That would have been a much better thing
I promise you,
for me to
if
do.
I get a 3D printer, I will not be doing any of this. This looks not fun and not something like I would want to do.
Of course, you're going to make me do it. Oh. Yeah. The hardest, so Mike, I will talk with you after stream, but the hardest thing I'm having on here is just actually locating where I am and see if you have any advice for that, and we can post it in the Discord for other people that might be doing this. For maybe some tips and tricks, you know, I might make a channel on the Discord for, you know, tips and tricks and advice that we do moderate. You know, if I do that, you know, I'll try to sit here and, you know, keep some discussion out of it. But if there's someone that has some particular expertise with a certain thing, you know, they could put something in there. And then if, you know, somebody needed some help, you could either see about reaching out to that person, or we can sit here and maybe get a document written up for like some basics of what you guys went over to pass on the knowledge to other people. I don't know. What do you guys think of that? See here. So Manal, like those bigger wire crimps are what I've done before with, but nothing ever this small. And with these style connectors, it was more of the, you know, spade connectors and the fork connectors and the ring connectors on much thicker gauge wire. And so that is a completely different tool that you use also when you're doing it. So let me see here. I'm just working on feeling. There we go. I got that one as well. Okay. Down to the last one again. This is where I messed it up last time. What do you guys think? Am I going to mess it up again? James has so much faith in me, doesn't he? Okay. Using this to kind of make sure that I have this thing pushed out enough that I'm not going to cut off that end. Okay. Yeah. Give me back my end. Yeah. Four for four. We got it now. Okay. Now we get to do the fun part of dropping my desk back down because I want to sit down because, oh, I can feel my back. For those of you who don't know, I actually do have a bad back. And so it can be fun sometimes standing up for a long time, or ladders are what really get me. Okay, so now we need to sit here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take all these cables and twist them back together again. I would like to give these a nice twist. And now we get to figure out where each of these pins go into our little connector. See here. Hey, Fredericks, welcome on in. I have not used the PLA high temperature. But if I'm correct, it's just like any other PLA. Annealing's not required. You can get a stronger result with annealing, but not required. It's not like your nylons where, you know, you have to do that second step to get the best results. But like this is just ASA. Even that's very strong. This is very thin. So Mad Owl, I wish I could do something like that with work. Unfortunately, I don't sit still all day at work. I do installs, things like that. So, you know, there's some days where I'm sitting at a computer fixing it. There's other days where I'm 15 feet up on a ladder installing speakers in the ceiling. But I might be able to do something like that for streaming. We'll have to see. Maybe I can get a balance board. I can see now, do the balance board today, and then when I go into work the next day, hey, I can't come in, my back's out for the first few times. Okay, so I know our second pin is going to be our ground. And according to this, the fourth pin, which is the blue, is the ground on here. Really wish we had a better pinout for what these were. Let's see if we have a pinout on here. Yeah, let's just unload and sensor. And 3 is our 5-volt, 4 is our ground. Mad Dog, no problem. Thanks for stopping on by. Hope everything goes well. Okay, so only thing I have shown here is angle unload and filament sensor. On the EBB36, it's just PA7 and PA6, or SCL and SDA. See if it breaks it down any further lower down. Going, that's hot end, our motor. Okay, I2C. I could have sworn there was somewhere at some point that I saw the actual pinout of these where it was saying which one was supposed to be the SCL. See if we can find it here. AV3D. Oh. All right, so here's an orbiter page. Here's a GitHub page. Maybe we have. Okay, this is the GitHub for the sensor. Let's see if this by chance happens to give us what we need. Just our schematic. Yeah, that we saw earlier. Well, Mike, I hope you had fun at the concert. Thanks for stopping on in. If you guys can't stay, it's always understandable. I just appreciate you guys coming in and, spending some of your time coming to watch us. Let me see here if he has anything there. Let's see here in mapping. Okay, so just looking up PB6 and PB5. Go back up to our forward layout here. PA6 and PA5. or PA6 and PA7. I don't think I think the 5 volt and the ground are the only ones that actually matter. But I think the other ones, since they are actually named pins, we can just go into our clipper config. And tell it which pin is for what. If someone will confirm that for me, and making sure that I'm not crazy. I'm pretty sure that it is.
Well, you are crazy, but that's beside the point.
Well, yeah, but I'm pretty sure that since those are actual pins like PA7 and PA6, it doesn't matter which one of those the other two are. What really matters is just the ground and the 5 volt. Let's see. I know for a fact that number 4 is going to be our ground. That's going to go into the second slot. Here. For now is where are okay. So on these there is a little pin on these, so this in. So that is our ground pin, and our 5 volt is pin 3, which is the red. And then on our board, 5 volt is pin number 1. That one goes into this slot. All right, we have a good connection there. Okay. No, I have our 5 volt and our ground in the proper ones. Let's see. Filament sensor is 2, which is the green. So looking here to see, that's just our clipper config afterwards. I'm not finding anything that says that there is a difference, or it makes a difference which one the filament sensor and the other are connected to. Yep, so what I'm going to do is, because like I said, it looks like those are selectable pins, so it shouldn't matter which one at this point. we're going to go and put them in kind of the same order that they're on the actual filament sensor. To put green next to our ground, and then our yellow on the outside. I'm giving myself a little bit of extra room here to work with. Come on, you. Chopstick. Thank you. Come on. Eating your home.
That's what she said.
Okay. We have all of our pins in there. That's just going to plug in like so. We have our filament sensor all connected now. That's right up here. And I think, yep, looks like my print is done. This is actually an esoterical part for Beacon and Cartographer to sit here and kind of gauge how far away you are from the toolhead. That way you can make sure you've got the correct spacers and everything on there. So we're going to take our wire with the ferrules on it, plug it into our hot end, or screw them down into our hot end. Just unscrewing these. Come on, go in your home. You know you want to go home. Go. We got the first one in, so let's tighten that down so it doesn't come out. Get our second one in here. But yeah, but on that note earlier, would you guys like a Discord channel set up for like little tips and tricks and things of that nature? Uh-oh. We have a special guest show that's deciding that they might make their presence known. Okay, so that's our hot end. Our thermistor is going to go into this second port here. And I may be having some fun with crimping again. Because the connection that came with my thermistor is a different connector. So let me see if I can depin these things and see if it's using a pin that we can just fit into a different connector, if I'm going to have to recrimp this. Well, hi, you. We have a guest. Bergman, how you doing? Welcome on in. Bergman, we're still working on the A4T. We just got interrupted by a surprise guest. River has decided he wants to be on camera. We've had so far fun with an hour and a half of crimping. I know must have been very riveting content, guys, but part of the thing I wanted to show with this channel was the struggles that you can go through. So, oh, he's smelling all the new smells. Okay, so what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to depen these little things to see if I can reuse the pins or if I'm going to have more adventures in crimping. What do you guys think? Am I going to have more adventures in crimping, or do you think I'll be able to reuse the pins that are already on here to get this done? Oh, that's wonderful. The sleeving came off. I might have to redo this anyway, but let's see here. Have some all of them. John Doe, I would definitely be fired in China. Miko, welcome in. And Gergman, depends, because I know like a lot of the harnesses come with that stealth changer LDO kit, but if you're doing a non stealth burner toolhead, yeah, you might have a lot of crimping in your future. Okay, let me go grab. Actually, hold up. I might be able to use one of the pens that I already have in here. Push through from the other side. While I am pushing down on the tab. Nope, that's not working. Okay, I'm going to go grab a needle. So I can use that to push in. I'll be right back.
So I told you all that story And I can't express to you how tired I am after driving for that long. And of course, it was all for nothing.
Okay. We have a needle now. I'm just going to use that to put some pressure on this pin. Come on, you. I need you to come out. Don't want to go through a whole nother crimping session. I don't think you guys want to see me do a whole nother crimping session as well. But I think I'm going to have to do a whole nother crimping session. Even though I've got these pins down, there must be some internal pins that are holding this in, and I do not have a proper depinning tool. Yep, we're gonna have to cut this and do it that way, unless I have the wrong. Nope, that is the thermistor port right there. So, yep. Okay, let's cut our end off. And now I get the fun job of how in the heck do I cut back this wire? Because this is not your standard latex or silicon sleeving.
And that was the moment he knew he screwed up.
It was this moment he effed up. Okay, so know at least that I need a 2-pin.
The skill of which he does not have.
Let's see here. Yeah, Miko, it's apparently a skill I did not have, because even though I was pressing down that pin, it was not moving. Okay. So, don't need to cut back a lot of this. The barest amount. This stuff is not easy. Front back. The torch. one lightsaber. Okay. That actually seems to be working pretty well, and that'll let me. Okay, that seemed to work pretty well. All I'm doing now that I have that stuff crimped, stuff really it'll sit here and get nice and flat when it's all even, but I'm trying to get these to melt together so I can actually snip them. Fortunately, I think my flush cuts just don't want to work on. There we go. Getting the little stuff that's frayed out here. Come on. Need to give me a clean enough section that I can actually put a crimp on you. Almost there. Hopefully that'll do. So let's grab our pins and we're going to go crimping again. Good. Oh, God, no. We are definitely not getting this thing to print tonight. There is many a more stream left on this printer. Okay. This is going to be the really tricky one. Because unlike the last one where I had the, let's face it, plastic sleeving to guide me as to where the thing is. This one, I don't have that luxury. I know I'm going a bit silent here, guys, but yeah. But no, Migo, what I'm doing is I'm just working on heating it up a bit. Because I know it's designed not to burn, but it can melt a little bit in this. And then, like John just said, then it makes it so it doesn't fray as much. That's also why you see I'm not holding it on, because I also don't want to heat up the wire too much. That's a small, yes. Frustrating. Yeah, I thought the other wires were frustrating. This is even more frustrating. This stuff just wants to fray out. Yep, and that's gone back even further. So you still have some slack, so let's cut this and crimp it again. It feels like we've got a good crimp there. Give you a snip. And then we're going to cut off our little frayed bits here again. Okay. Yep, this has just been the crimping stream. Why not? See here. I don't know what to watch myself. You torture myself, microsoning. Oh, good lord. So we get from watching me torture myself with crimping to down under torturing himself with micro soldering. You guys get all sorts of torture streams today. Okay. Think we're good there. One pin in. Second pin in. And there we go. Our thermistor's in. That's how it's going to go. You know that's how it's going to go. I'm going to get all of this work done, and then I'm going to sit here and be like, does anybody smell burning? All right. So fan 0. Oh, you are kidding me. Well, let's see if I can depen this one. Neither do I. I really do not have faith in myself depenning. These without the tool. Come on, you. Come on. Yeah, John Doe, I've done that, but so I'm pushing forward right now. To push forward. What?
Not a free penny here.
There we go. Got one. Okay. What I'm going to do here, grab another 2-pin. Just so I can make sure I still have them in the same way that they were. That was the key there. So this one, our key. Well, I think this is just my luck. And this is a different size pen. So I'm going to need to recrimp them anyway. Yeah, this pen is wider. Just my luck. Okay. Have some fun with some pens now again. Yeah, we got one unpinned, but unfortunately it does look like we're going to have to recrimp them because the connectors that were in the other end are bigger than the ones that'll work on this one. go. We got that one on. Make in this so it's the same way. This goes into this one. There we go. And now we're going to cut this one and do it all over again. Electronics and 3D printing has been interesting. Yeah, I've heard that we've had 2 sets of Magic Pixies so far. I don't think we're going to be getting power to this thing today, so we don't have a chance for a third. But yeah, this week I've heard has been a very interesting week for electronics. Okay. Get this one seated. Go. This is actually going to go into our fan 0. All right, that's in. I could have probably sat here and could have shortened that up a bit, but hindsight. Okay. Our fan 1 is over here. And then, believe it or not, our fan 2, which I'm going to make our hot end fan. I'm going to have to look here because it's designed for a 3-pin, but we only have a 2-pin fan. Bergman, awesome. Always nice when a new printer sits here and boots. Okay, cut this one to about here. Let's see here. Do that there. This comes this way. Wrap over. Yep, I go about here for a crimp, for a cut. Cut this closer to the end because that would have made separating these cables a bit easier. Let me go grab my utility knife because I left that inside as well. Down under, I'm not pinning that fan yet, but I will take a look and see which one it is before we actually do pin that to get you that answer. Okay. Yeah, this one's a two. The one that I'm doing right now is a 2-pin, so I don't need to worry about that down under, but I will go down to the other fan section and take a look and answer your question as to what kind of pin it is before we do anything with it. Okay, so let's get this next crimping in. All right, yeah, down under, before we do that fan, then I will look and see what kind of port it actually is. To see if it's just a tachometer or a PWM signal. One. Need. Let me grab our another 2-pin connector here for this fan, because this one's going into a 2-pin. We are doing 2-pin to 2-pin. Black and red is on the right, and our solid red is on the left. That's going to go in this one. Okay, so down under, Kenneth, how you doing? Matt, let me catch up on chat here. Oh, see, I think Sparky's a good term. So let me go and look and see what this fan 2 is, because James, can we make the computer real big real quick? What it is, we have fan 1, that's where we plugged one of our 4010s in. Fan 2 is right here, that's where we plugged our other 4010. And or fan 0 is here, fan 1, fan 2 is here, and it's a 3-pin. Let's see if they give us. Okay. Okay, so fan 2 interface takes advantage of the fact that hot end fans are usually driven at 100% duty cycle to implement tacho feedback via 3. This allows the firmware to detect the fan is not spinning when it should be. Yeah, I think it's a on or off for this. Yeah. Matt Owl, I was going the same way, but now Down Under has gone through and said, hey, we're good. So I just need to make sure that when I pin this thing up, I'm pinning it into PD2, so the right pin and the center pin, the left pin is going to be empty for the detection. Red is going to be our voltage pin. Okay. Tom, I'm running Fedora on most of mine. James back here is an Endeavor OS person. He's an Arch Linux person. Every distribution has its advantages and disadvantages, as we learned with Ubuntu last week, where things just didn't, or a few weeks ago, where things just did not want to work when they should have. Let's see here. Okay. Bearded Printer, welcome on in. How you doing today? Welcome to the I'm crimping a lot of things stream, because while a lot of these connectors already had ends on them, those ends would not work with an EBB 36. So I'm having to put new ends on everything. Go, that one's good. No, there's a special kind of hate in my heart for Microsoft, because, you know, back in the Windows 3.1 days, it was actually pretty decent. MS-DOS was nice. Even some of Windows 95 and stuff like that was good, but heck, maybe even through the XP days. But then they just started going down. They just really went downhill. Messed up on that one. Thankfully, I realized before I encrypted it down all the way. Okay, so concentrate on getting this. Go. Okay, so now I need one of our 3-pin connectors. There's one. Okay, so on this one, red's going to go in the center. Black is going to go on the right pin. And our left pin is going to remain empty. Okay. So that is currently all of... Unplug that real quick. That is currently all of the cables we have coming out of our printer. So that is our extruder motor up here, our filament sensor here, our left 4010 here, our right 4010 here, and our hot end fan here, our thermistor and our hot end, and our temp probe and our thermistor are connected. Now I've got to take and put the little esoterical mod thing together. I understand it should just clip together. There we go, and it just rotates. Yep, that just slides in like so. This is going to tell us we're going to do a dry fit on the tally mount. Cable is kind of tucked away there. Because what I need to see is how the cartographer mounts on here, how far away it is from our nozzle, because we need that spacing. Be pretty good, because I can already tell just by doing this that where this thing mounts, we're going to need spacers. It doesn't look like our spacers are going to need to be that big. Take a look here. These spacers that come with the Vitali mount. And let's go to cartographer. On cartographer's website, I want to see, let's see, we want it to be 2.6 to 3 millimeters away from the nozzle when we mount it. That's there. I currently have the 3 millimeter up there. It does look like these smallest spacers will work. Let's grab our small spacers. And just do a test fit on this. That is the right size. Yay! Those screws are too small. Let's go to the next size screw up. Tanner Dude Man, welcome on in. Barton Think Chad, welcome on in. Let's see here. Just going to catch up on chat here real quick. Tanner's been trying CashieOS. That hell just doesn't like anything. NT4, yeah, NT4 was nice. Windows 2000 had pretty good driver support. So the funny thing about Windows Vista is Windows Vista was actually the beta for Windows 7. The reason it got released is the code for it got leaked. And so instead of losing all of their proprietary information, Microsoft just sat here and said, oh, just release it. So that's why Windows 7 actually worked as well as it did, was because instead of having a limited beta run, they had millions of users beta testing the OS. Okay, so I'm just working on getting these screws in here with our spacers just to make sure that we have the right size, or if I need to go up a size in spacer. Is a pretty big difference in the spacer size. All right, so we got that in there. If we get this lined up where it's going to be mounted, that actually looks pretty much here it is. Be right on 3 mils. So those spacers right there are what we're going to need to connect our cartographer up to our Batali mount. Unscrew these, because I believe this little, so this should be perfect. Should, keyword, be here. Catching up here. Windows 11 was like the reference Microsoft wanted more like Mac OS. Yeah, Windows 10 was all right. And the thing that pissed me off about Windows 11 was that Microsoft had said Windows 10 was going to be their last OS ever. And then they were just going to keep updating it. And then they came out with Windows 11 out of nowhere with artificial limitations as to, oh, this is only allowed to be on these processors. I can tell you for a fact, it'll run on lower end processors than the specs that Microsoft gives. I want to check something here now. Or I think the shorter screws will actually, yeah, that's biting in pretty well. So yes, the shorter screws will do on this because the esoterical mounting plate was actually a bit thicker than the PCB on the cartographer is. I'm just mounting these up. Okay, so now that, because this is just used for measuring the distance your hot end is from where the cartographer will be. but you can see this little mounting plate. This little mounting plate here that is printed is actually much thicker than the PCB. And so I was able to use shorter screws here with this than I was with the test fitter. But that right there goes there. Now I'm not going to screw this on yet because obviously I need to get it onto the printer. But that's how that's going to be going on there. Something I learned while looking at this earlier was, if you look here, you have the 4 holes. That's going to mount to our carriage. But then what you have to do is actually mount this on after you mount the carriage. And this is going to go with the flat side up, because on this tool head, the way this mounts is these top screws actually screw in up here. Actually screwing up here, and that little standoff is for the part that it actually goes and grips in on the screws. So I was looking at that earlier and I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool how that works. Now for this, I need my little cartographer cable. And this we might not have to do anything with. We do have the DuPont connectors. Let's pull back up our interface. This is our CAN. So we have 5-volt, CAN low, CAN high, and ground. So I just need to figure out on the cartographer which of those is which. And termination. So if that is correct, is this thing? Pencil on here? It is. So if I have this thing on, it's going to clip in like so. So our black is ground. So our black is ground, which is the first pin. Our red is our 5-volt. Our white is our CAN low, and our yellow is our CAN high. Okay. And then, yeah, that should be a pretty good link that we could just leave it at that. We'll get those things plugged in once we get that on there. But now this is the cable that came with the EBB 36 Gen 2. Now, something I would like to do on this is eliminate at least one of the drag chains on the Voron, because I can eliminate the one that's just on the x-axis if I do an umbilical. Now, this is the end that plugs into our tool board. And what I'm going to need to see, that I'm going to need a brain fart voltmeter for.
You don't need a brain fart. That's not what you need.
Yeah. That I'm going to need a voltmeter for is I'm going to need to check the continuity to find out which of these pins corresponds on the other side, so I can check the continuity between them. That way I can see if this pinout matches what's on the Leviathan board. Now, I won't be able to use our cable gland here on this because this is not a split cable gland. So even if I unscrew this, I don't really have a way to get this over either end of this. But the one that is on the Voron currently is a bit more exposed. So if I were to take this cable out, I might be able to get it through that cable plane. I will have to see. That is something that I'm not going to put you guys through of watching me unclip all of that to the cable chains and unwire it here on stream, because I'm pretty sure watching me do all this crimping has been boring enough. But theoretically, with that, we should be ready to get this mounted onto the Voron. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that for next stream, because James and I sat here and didn't even get back to town till like, what was it, 2 in the morning?
Yeah, and then I had to wake up at 8:30, so I'm tired.
Yeah, so we had a pretty long day yesterday and had to wake up nice and early today. But
If you guys couldn't tell, I haven't been talking. It's because I'm about to fall asleep.
so down under, this is actually a PG-7 if I'm correct, not a PG-9. So but yeah, so I tried checking to see if this will fit earlier, but with the clip and everything, it just does not go on down. And with the housing that it has on the EBB 36, I might be able to get a PG-9 and fit it through, but I picked up a PG-7. I printed out the PG-7 adapter. I have the other style connector that he printed out, that he has already printed out. That's the 2-piece. But I don't have the actual strain relief that I can fit through it. Okay, so it doesn't. All right, I will take a look at Esoterical's printed ones and see what I can do. I will have. The big thing is, if I'm going to do that, I need to pick up some TPU and start trying to print with that. That is a material. I've done PLA, I've done ABS, I've done ASA. I have not done TPU or PETG yet.
TPU is the flexible one, right?
Yes.
Cool.
Oh, I think James is going to make me pick it up. But I think James is going to make me pick up TPU and print with it. But with that, Phil, are you going to be doing a Discord stream? If so, I don't know if there's a way that I can link people to it. Okay, so it doesn't need TPU. So what, I can print it out of ASA or? Okay, so cool. I won't have to do a new filament. I can do ASA, but yeah, so it looks like Phil is doing some micro soldering on his Discord. So if you guys wanna head on over there, let me see. Phil, I think you should be able to post a link to your Discord if you want, if people want to join. Still new to this thing, but if I did that correctly, you should have the ability to post links now. Make a yeah, it sucks when the system admin sits here and blocks Discord links and stuff. Yes, Phil can do that now. So yeah, if you guys want to go watch some micro soldering, you learned some cripping things and watched me fumble through it, but you can sit here and learn some stuff about micro soldering. So if you have an issue with a board and you release magic pixies, you might be able to repair it. No guarantees, but it's a good skill to learn. But with that, I've been Penguin Makers. The mysterious voice has been James Q, and go make something awesome. We out.